guess we could just now make. So we have our farewell, and then now we just have the Calimportian dance that we just do for all eternity. In the, not the abyss. What is the other place? Purgatory. In the purgatory of Twitch, the Twitch first, we have the forever dance. But yes, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to our Knights of Silvermoon. Episode 3 of a new campaign. I feel it's very weird because my first campaign ever was this last one, right? And we started at home, and it was like really strange and awkward for the first little bits, and then we just did things, and then we got places, and now here we are. So now it's like starting over again. It's like,
so nothing has really changed.
Now it's just all of our awkward bits on camera.
yeah, so it's just
Oops,
it's
all
the same.
awkward bits.
Oh no. Oops, awkward.
I don't think you can show awkward bits on Twitch.
I was trying to avoid.
Oops, all berries.
Oh no. Oh no. No, it's perfect. Okay. Announcements wise, nothing. I think we were good. I know
Things aren't happening.
Things aren't happening here so much right now. This is kind of like it.
I mean, this is a lot.
This
We're
is
doing
a lot.
here.
Yeah, we're getting there. But
How dare you only run one game per week at this point? I mean, you absolute slacker.
Don't worry, it won't last long.
On top of all
that's
the
the
other
problem.
things you're already prepping and doing.
Hey, listen, con season's almost over. I only have, what's up, Golden Gambit? Good to see you. I only have 2 more events for the year, and so that's gonna be done. I'm not doing anything super crazy Star Warsy anytime soon, so there's that. So that's gonna be shelved until next spring. So I'll have somewhat more time, all the timing to train and become one with the dark side.
Time to sleep.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But no, there is Act 2 is starting to brew in the kettle. It's on a nice low simmer, so we'll get there. But yes. Well, more information on that as it comes available. Right now, we're gonna go over to the weather, and the weather says it is a strong chance of a game happening soon. So let's go over to that weather video.
Here's a bad game coming in from the north.
Oh no! The bad game's coming in from the north.
Go Akokens es absolut. Ikapke es absta. Jut gaoda. Iamen ad omzeme ad ok erpasin. I have waited long enough. They will hear me, or they will all perish.
Followed by the most terrifying voiceover. You know, honestly, that voice thing that I used in the right pitch frequencies makes me sound like my absolute most favorite person's voice. Oh my
You
gosh.
love them so much you can't remember who it is.
I can never, because I always hesitate because I don't know how to pronounce their name correctly. It's the one from The Expanse. Suresh is her last name.
Mhm.
Absala.
Oh, my
Sorrel?
gosh.
Absala.
Yes.
Yes. But isn't there a Suresh in there somewhere, or is this anyway? This
I'm gonna
lady
pull up IMDb
is-
while you intro us.
Yeah.
Sohre?
Yes. Yes, that one. Oh, I love her voice so much, and I cannot wait to see her in the new Assassin's Creed game. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Does a great job. The scary voices are. Yes.
He's Persian.
Yes. And it's beautiful, and I love it. Okay, but to get us started on tonight's game, we have a little bit of an intro. The shining palace of Ilum stands atop the highest point in the city, overlooking all that the king rules over in this prosperous city-state. The throne room is burst open as a group of people rush into the room. Palatial guards, city soldiers, a handful of attendants, all of them crowding around the king and queen. The palace guards quickly check every darkened corner with their lit torches and set about lighting the braziers, and not braziers, around the room. Calling to each other once the room is cleared of threats, they quickly set up posts around doors and windows, weapons in hand, and ready to quickly respond. Tell me again, what was it you saw, Lethos? King Bardas says as he sits on the stairs of the throne dais. Queen Dianthe sits beside him and wipes her husband's brow with a damp cloth. Lethos, the guard to whom he spoke, momentarily fidgets with the hilt of his sword, and his breastplate shifts as he stands more at attention under the king's gaze. The priests offered their sacrifice to Apollo to mark the end of the first day of festival. And lo, Apollo bore his brilliant favor as light shone from the crowd, and all turned and saw, and look, there was a clamor from the man chosen by Apollo, and he shouted so as to be heard above the din, and said, "Let the gods be afraid as they once were, and will soon be again. He comes and will not be stopped." Lethos grips the hilt tighter and swallows. And there, the man, fierce in appearance, pulled a golden dagger through a woman so that a beast from her crawled, as though escaping from the very mouth of Hades himself. It stood taller than the Goliaths of the northern reaches, though it bore no flesh on its bones, and it began to assault the crowd and do battle with the people gathered there. The king interjects. And who were those it battled against? They were present to worship as well, were they not? Lethos swallows again. He could feel his skin crawl at the memory of what he saw, the vileness of it. He had never witnessed anything like this before. Your Majesty, we believe that there are demigods here in Ilum. For we saw feats of magic that belong only to their kin. Lethos licks his lips as he steels his nerves. The demigods began to assault the chosen of Apollo, so that he was tossed like the chaff into the air during harvest. And then they slew him, and the beast of Hades that did battle against them. And that is when we left. The king turned to the one of his advisors, a general of the Ilum armies, a man who had seen more battles than births, it was said, a man of war. Ieres, what do you make of this? The war general, Ieres, had been saying nothing up until now. He merely watched, with a cold detachment. If Apollo and Hades have entered into a pact against the other gods, it could portend a vile future for mortals. Allow me to find these demigods amongst us, that we might know what is truly at work. Dismissing his general with a nod and wave, King Bardas takes a deep drink from a goblet brought by one of his attendants, and ponders what all this might mean. But first, our not so long past this moment, we're gonna rewind time a little bit. It's basically what I was trying to say. This happens to me every time I try to go narrative and then my brain breaks, okay? So we're just gonna go straight up. We're gonna rewind a little bit.
It's a cool scene. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway. Yes, cool scene, cool scene. We're gonna go with something different. All of you stand in the pavilion. A boy lies dead at your feet, Themisto, Phoebe, Cyprus. Astrid and Laertes, you are the furthest away, but you see where Cyprus is with everybody else. Do you approach as well?
The person that I had held aloft, he's dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I would have, as the spell ends, he would gradually lower to the ground. And it gets a little messy because his pieces aren't all together now. The his Phobos arm is kind of comes down with him. Just
That's no moon.
just as that's clearly going on over there, I'm just looking over this person for any kind of other than the black and red, if there's any kind of insignia or tattoos, anything that's really telling about who and what this person is or was. As he squeaks like Goku from Dragon Ball Abridged. It's just the air escaping out of his lungs like Bender when he was human for a day.
There you go.
Woo!
Okay. Make a investigation check, please, if you will.
Not terrible. 12.
12.
Can I use the help action?
This is not Baldur's Gate 3.
No, look there, stupid.
I'd like to provide guidance. I'm going to cast
Sure.
guidance on Laertes. So go and add a d4 to that roll.
Go for it.
I don't know if it'll really matter at this point, but thank you. Ooh, that was not destined to be. That's a 1 for a total of 13. But I like the hustle.
Yeah.
You rolled a 1 and got a 13?
No, he rolled a 1 extra to his
Oh,
A one on
I
the
was
D4.
like,
an
you rolled a
incredible
one
roll
and-
at level 3. Yeah, I don't have that many high stats except for plus 13 in investigation.
Yeah, it's because the rest of them is made out of like wicker and wishes, so it balances out.
Yeah.
Laertes' last name is Clouseau.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go with Columbo. Yeah, one more question.
One more thing.
You look over this dead man, his the liquid of his life now oozing onto the stone pavement around you in this pool of blood that is left over. He doesn't seem to be carrying anything. You do find a golden dagger, though.
I will not touch it for the time being because I don't want to disturb a crime scene by me just going, oh, look at this shiny.
Do you know what a crime scene is?
I think the rudimentary idea would exist. If I can manipulate physics, I think I can parse the idea of a crime scene. So I'm basically just going to minor illusion create a impression of the dagger rather than directly touching it.
Okay.
So I can at least examine the blown apart 3D sketch of it later.
Astrid is gonna pick up the cloak that he had on that she put light
He
on,
threw out- yeah.
and then he like threw off to the side. Yeah,
Mhm.
and pick that up, and she'll pick that up and keep it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You look over to where these two women in Cyprus are gathered over a body close to where another cultist has fallen. Themisto, Phoebe, in Cyprus. Themisto, you had just finished giving off a prayer, asking for life to once again flow into this child's body, into Diodoros. But the longer that you both are looking at him, the less he seems to look like the boy you remember, and more like, not to say he looks like a mannequin, like not like a, smoothed over face, but his features are less distinct and look more almost ordinary, like this could be anyone. What are you guys doing?
I call out for Melanthos to try to bring him over to us. Melanthos!
You see,
And look back towards the altar.
you'll see over by the altar, peering carefully from around its base, the old, wide-eyed man, as he looks over and looks around as if trying to find any other creatures that might prey upon him. Is it? What was that creature? He starts to stand and look around.
I'm just still cradling Diodorus's body, gonna just kind of shift myself so that he can get a look.
Okay.
Cyprus will look around for any of the guards.
Um,
Anyone who looks like they would be attending this thing.
You look around at the streets and you find that most of the streets, at least nearby to this pavilion, seem pretty empty as people have started running in all directions. You can see a few people that have hidden behind columns and things that are still kind of like looking around now that the initial hubbub has now subsided. They're kind of looking around to see if there's any more sounds of violence, screaming, or death. And you notice that the guards are... There's some that are coming and moving towards this direction, but they are moving together with shields out and like spears held ready, but they're moving forward cautiously. Melanthos, looking around, gets up and goes over to the three of you. What? Themisto, what was that creature?
I don't know. It's night has fallen. I thought at first maybe it was a creature of Nyx. But the creature, it didn't do this.
He
It
looks
was a
down.
woman.
He looks down at the boy in your arms, and then over at the body of the woman that is a couple of feet from you. Looks over at Phoebe and Cypress. Reaches out and places a hand on Cypress's shoulder. Thank you for coming to an aid. Coming to our aid. And he puts the other hand on Themisto, and then he kind of kneels down. Who was this boy?
Cypress is looking at Themisto, who seems to be the most familiar with who he was.
I look up to Malantos. Can you not recognize him?
No. Is he from one of your temples? Do not recognize the boy.
Did he never come to you like this?
This was. I look to Phoebe.
Apollo. This is the form he took for all of us orphans.
The countenance of a child?
Ask any of your orphans. They know Diodoros.
Whoa,
We all do.
familiar with Diodoros, sure, but this is not Diodoros. Look at him. This is surely someone who is visiting or from elsewhere. This is Diodoros is not even in the city.
Oh,
We
shit.
saw him just moments ago
I spoke with
he
him
was there.
today.
in the crowd while we were giving the ceremony, making the offerings.
No. Diodoros has been gone for 2 to 3 moons at least. We sent him south.
And I spoke just today here in your city. This is him. She is taken. His divinity.
Even if it was Diodoros, why would the god present himself as a child?
I know it has been a long time, but don't you remember being a child? Now imagine being a child left alone at the temple with no family.
Can Cypress go over and start not too carefully checking the body of the woman who touched Diodoros?
Make an investigation check.
Warrior, be careful when you touch that.
21.
I don't know what she did to him, but just in case there's anything left. Maybe a poison on her.
He carefully 21. He does not touch her palm, but he will like lift her arm and start pulling at her robes to see what weapons or the source of what she did, and if she has any other insignia on her.
Okay. With that look, you don't find anything on her, like any sort of insignia or jewelry. Around her waist, you do find a golden dagger, though.
Cypress will take it.
You can see now that there are more people from the city beginning to enter into the pavilion, and you can hear amongst them murmurs, whispers. Did you see the acts of the gods? These must be their children. These were the chosen ones. They used all sorts of divine magics. you can hear them start to whisper as they get closer, and they start crowding around you a little bit more and a little bit more. We're gonna say,
Can Cypress conceal the dagger from onlookers?
Sure. Astrid, what were you gonna say?
She's gonna yell from across the way. We got this one as well, but he blew himself up.
You can hear some of the guards are beginning to approach. Melanthos
She
gets up from his knees and gestures for Astrid and Laertes to come forward.
she'll have the cloak in hand.
Are guards coming towards us, or they're kind of just keeping the crowd in?
They're kind of they're kind of a little bit. They're not really paying attention to the crowd. The crowd's not. They're all kind of more curious to see what it is that is going on. But they're gathering around the deceased at the moment, and they're probably holding back by about 15 feet or so from you, but they're giving space to the priest of Apollo, and as he's telling you to come forward.
I don't want to leave the dagger unattended, so I was hoping the guards would come by and kind of deal with their thing, but I'm just going to sort of levitate the dagger into the air. There's no invisible hand, it just sort of seems to be lifting of its own accord.
You immediately see the crowd start to gasp and step back.
It's just me. Just relax, please.
The guards raise their spears towards you.
I'm just
Whoa.
putting it away so I
Shelter.
don't leave it unattended. If you want to take it, please do.
You see one of the soldiers takes a step forward, reaches for the floating handle of the dagger and grabs it from your grasp.
Mhm.
If you
It just
would,
relents immediately. I'm not trying to hold on to it. I'm not trying to do anything.
They look at this dagger. And what lineage are you from?
I
Whom do you
from
serve?
Sagan. I serve academia.
Of the
That's where it's
gods,
gonna walk
which
over
of
there.
your gods are you?
I don't know how to answer the question. I'm not of any god.
They look to
He's-
each other.
He's just a very smart man.
I don't feel so smart at the moment.
We're going to head back with our friends to talk to that guard, if that's okay.
They look over and they can see there's people starting to press in, and they're looking down at the man. You can hear. Make a perception check for me, if you will. Astrid
Both of
and
us?
Laertes. Mhm.
Okay.
Go for
Yeah.
it.
You know, the ones that we were with when we saved most of these people from that creature and that man that had stabbed his friend.
21.
Reminding of that. I got it. I think I got a 21 as well.
Twinsies.
Perception.
Okay, you hearing amongst them whispers of "this man is unfamiliar. These people do not look like
25.
from around here. Did you see how the dagger floated?" And you're hearing these whispers go back and forth, but then they're also looking at the man that's on the ground. Nobody seems to. They're asking each other, "Oh, do you know this man? I've never seen him before in my life."
Please just be careful with the dagger. I don't know if there's anything about it to be concerned. I don't know if it's cursed. I don't know if it's
Immediately, the
Done.
guard drops the dagger on the ground and raises
Right,
his
that
spear
thing
at you
opened the
again.
portal, so
back at
in
you
the
again.
body.
You have cursed this object. You have cursed this dagger.
No, as in the man there on the ground stabbed the woman over there, and a moment later, and he's pointing over his shoulder, erupted out of her. I don't know about what process was involved.
There
So
is
don't
no-
cut yourself
there
with the
is-
dagger.
There is no other creature. It exploded. The only bodies that are here, as you point over that direction, you see the other cultists, and then you see the priest standing
Oh,
with
no.
Mr. Phoebe. But there was no other creature. It
Okay.
exploded everywhere whenever it died.
Is there
But-
creature goo around on us?
As you recall, when it
Cypress.
exploded, it
Just atomized.
The mist.
atomized and kind
Yeah.
of
That's
seeped into the
right.
ground and then like fizzled away. You do
There
look
was
over.
a creature. I
Yeah.
swear to you.
Cypress, can Cypress overhear this of their conversation
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, you're probably good 30, 40 feet away, but
You
yeah.
can see Esther trying to like get to you, like
Yeah.
trying to.
He will
Pull us away
disengage
from-
with the other group and approach you. Are you all right?
You see the spears like pointed up again, and like the crowd is not like, it's not like there's like hundreds of people in the pavilion all over again, but it's just like the people that are of the curious variety. So you're looking at like 15 to 20 that are probably starting to kind of gather around and look everywhere. You see that one of the guards does go up to the porch, we'll say, where the body of the woman was, and you can hear him gasp and exclaim, "There is a woman's skin here." And everybody kind of like, like you hear the gas, and then there's more people that kind of rush to go look over there. Melanthos to Themisto and Phoebe. We must try and find who this boy belongs to. Bring him. He looks over at Cypress. Perhaps we can have him bring him to the temple. I have a feeling that this is going to get complicated quickly.
Please, if you can. And I'll kind of shift again towards Cypress.
He's gonna be like, "Young man, excuse me." Young man turns, trying to get Cypress's attention.
Cypress is visually torn between the two groups, and he turns back to Astrid and is like, "I'll be right back. Are you all right? Were you hurt?"
We're fine. We're just trying to not get put in jail for something that we.
I'd settle for not getting stabbed with a spear.
Cypress hears that and actually looks up at the people whom he assumes are accusing his
Yeah.
his friends.
Um,
He will turn back to Themisto and offer a wave of like, but he will then engage with the other group for a moment.
okay. Who are you? Are you also a child of the gods?
No. Are you accusing these two of all of this?
I only know what I saw.
What did you see?
A
I did
man-
not see you.
An old man and a woman. Yeah.
I saw a golden light, and then a beast that came from it. And then the beast fought with heroes, or perhaps villains. And he raises his spear a little higher. Melanthos, over with Themisto and Phoebe, is like, "Just a moment. Stay here." And he goes over, "Excuse me. May I borrow these servants of the gods for a moment? He starts like trying to struggle with words, and then you see the guards like recognize him for a moment, and they lower their spears just briefly. Phoebe, what were you gonna say?
Just that as we're waiting for Cypress to come over, I'm going to take my long orange shawl and begin wrapping up the boy in it.
Sure. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Melanthos goes over to Laertes, puts a hand on his back, and just like, "You may lower your hands, child. These are guests of the Temple of Apollo, and they have come to protect us. Go and see to the king and queen. We will be at the temples tending to those who have passed."
Before we go, could I take that with us, please? I just want to make sure it doesn't harm anyone else.
What are you gesturing to?
I'm gesturing at the dagger that
The dagger.
the guard
Dropped.
initially took and then dropped.
We can
Uh,
write it in this if you'd like.
Make a persuasion check.
God,
I believe in you.
that's a
Guidance.
dirty 20.
Guidance.
Dirty 20. Nice. You see the guard stand over the dagger and starts to shift it away with his foot from you. But then he looks over at Astrid and then looks over at Melanthos and takes a step back. Puts his spear butt end down onto the ground. But you can see gripping it vice-like. It doesn't say anything.
Cypress will walk up without much hesitation, go pick up the dagger.
You can hear those in the crowd kind of close by again kind of begin to murmur and whisper to themselves that you just coming up and picking it up. And amongst their murmurs, this must be another of the gods. Surely this one is a child. Must be a child of the divine.
He will extend his hand and hold the golden dagger out to Laertes.
I'm just looking a little apprehensively, not at the dagger itself, but just the crowd, the murmurs, the guard. It's just a very discomforting set of images, and just kind of float it over to where Astrid is holding the wrappings for it, because he just does not want to touch it at all. Not until he knows what it really is, if it's anything at all.
Okay. All right. So as you are doing this, Melanthos turns to Cypress. You are a strong young man. Please, would you mind carrying the body of the deceased? We have a child that has died.
Not at all. And very gently, he'll stoop down and pick him up.
Okay.
Thank you for your help.
Of course.
Please be careful with him. This is my brother.
His eyes widen and he stares at you for a moment.
Melanthos turns back to one of the closer guards. Please, inform the physician Nissos that we will be at the temple and we will require his aid. He turns to the 5 of you now. He looks down at the woman who's... It's a mess. And all of you kind of have to even though you have seen it already, it is truly one of the worst sights you have probably beheld had you not been involved in actual warfare. Melanthos kind of does the shielding chicken arms of the chicks, kind of gently trying to coerce you to move. Please let us go back to the temple. What are you guys saying? Anything, doing anything, or just going along for now?
I think I'm gonna keep a hand on the boy the whole walk back.
I'll go along with it.
Okay.
Cypress, while still holding the child's body, will call out to the suspicious guards. Keep an eye out for people in red and black that look like them. There might be more.
Okay.
I add to that, pointing at the husk that used to be a person. Just do what you can to preserve that. We might find other clues from it. Please and thank you.
Alrighty.
Oh, I'm just
Uh,
going to get stabbed, aren't I?
No,
Won't let that happen.
not if we have anything to say about it.
All right.
Just quiets down and walks along with the group.
As we're walking, I'd say quietly to the three newcomers, thank you all for trying to help.
Of course. I'm sorry. Did you know him?
We all did. When we get to the temple, I'll speak more on this.
It's terrible he died so young.
He shone. And he will catch anyone's eyes meaningfully.
Catch your eyes when you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sun. If I can reach her, I'm still keeping one hand on Diodoros, and I will grab Themisto with my other hand. Just squeeze her hand.
So squeeze back.
Okay. As you guys are making the climb back to the top of the hill where the Temple of Apollo sits, there are those who have now come outside. It seems word is traveling as quick as you are. As you can see, people are running along side streets trying to catch glimpses of all of you as you walk by. The priests gathering around you. You see there are a couple of the other temple attendants who have come down and out of hiding suddenly, are now kind of gathering around you all as well, ushering you up the hill and trying to keep people at bay. As you move across the city, there are those who are beginning to prostrate themselves in front as you walk by. Please, please, help us. Children of the gods, please, please. You have shown such great feats of strength. Please, please, please help. And like as you continue to walk by, you see others who are praising you for your that you must be Apollo incarnate, that you must be his chosen, here to help save the festival. All of these act as small little pinpricks to you as you look over and see the boy in Cypress's arms. And it seems that the more you look at him, the more he doesn't look like Diodoros, and it is concerning. Melanthos has resigned himself to the back of the group and is just arms within his sleeves. Seems to be deep in thought as he listens to the cries of the people around you.
In this version of the world, how much do we know about the gods taking on different forms? Because like we as players know about like especially Zeus taking on different forms and things.
The hospitality thing I think has come up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
you would know a considerable bit about it anyway. Why? Were you want to say something? Just thinking.
Oh, just making sure that Phoebe's thoughts would make sense. She knows this is Diodoros, this is Apollo, but perhaps this version of him is gone. But maybe not fully.
Okay. Getting into the temple, you are ushered inside what appears to have been preparations for more festivities now turns quickly to somberness as the other temple attendants start to speak with those who are here and preparing a room for you to set the body of the boy down. You see
He will lay. Oh,
okay. No, you're good. You see from around one of the corner pillars on the far side of the room, Odessa and some of the other children have snuck out and are kind of peering around. Not within eyesight to be able to see, but you can see that they are curious as to what is going on. And Melanthos ushers you into this room where you're going to place the body, but then tells Themisto, I must go and tend to the children. It will be just a moment. And he shuffles quickly to the other side.
As he's shuffling out, can I quickly say to him,
No.
do you still have the letter that I gave you?
Yes.
May I have it?
Sure. I will go to the study and grab it on my way back.
Thank you.
He nods and then goes back over to the children and says, all right, it's time for you to go to bed. And starts, like, ushering them that way. In this room, it's a small, looks like it would be someone's, like, private chambers, but it's rather empty. It just has the bed and a small chest for the placing of belongings. Let me see here. Do the what I like to call the Sonder shuffle. You do like this little thing with your head, just like. All right. You see over here, you're like set the boy down, Cypress, and within moments, a tall Leonin man comes in. One of the Themisto, you know him as Amsi, but he comes in dressed in the same robes as Melanthos. Forgive me, I was only just made aware that something has transpired. Please, tell me what is... And he stops and he looks down at the boy. Oh, to be taken so soon. A tragedy. What happened? He looks to all of you.
There was an attack at the pavilion.
Attack?
What appeared to be possibly cultists. I'm not sure. But a
Cultists?
monster and a summoning took place.
A summoning?
Or
an unleashing.
yeah, I couldn't. One of the cultists cut one of the other down the middle, and from her sprung this great beast.
You see his ears kind of perk up, and he listens, and you can see his tail start to twitch nervously.
I slayed it, but the child.
Do you know who this child is?
No.
He was a temple orphan.
Not one of ours. I do not
Mine.
recognize his face. Oh. Was he under your care?
He has traveled with me for a long time.
He puts a hand on your shoulder. I am sorry for your loss and the loss of your temple's child. It is not easy when one passes on to the realm of Hades. He looks over at Themisto. Are you alright?
I don't know if any of us are. You say it was a tragedy. It was a greater tragedy than perhaps you will believe.
What do you mean?
Listen, already kind of giving up that anyone is gonna believe her that this is Apollo.
Yeah.
She turns to a different approach. As you know, I'm training to be Patia.
Yes.
We must watch the signs carefully. The signs that Apollo normally gives to us. If the days are slower to come, if the aim of the archers is less true, if the words of the poets do not flow so freely, then there is large change that is coming.
Are you saying that you had a vision of this?
When Melanthos returns, I will prove that I did.
He gets down on one knee and starts looking at the boy closely and places a hand on his chest and closes his eyes and starts reciting a small prayer to himself.
And you know, I could have said something to all of you before we went to the festival.
You all look at each other. Then Amsi stands, and the door opens, and Melanthos steps in, a small scroll wound up with the wax seal still pressed to it. He hands it over to Themisto.
I take it and I break the seal and unroll it and set it out for everyone to see. And there are the words what Themisto recorded, the prophecy she had as she entered the Temple of Apollo earlier today. Ending with that fear, a group of people facing darkness, and Apollo dead.
This is what upset you so much earlier.
It is. I thought surely it couldn't be true. So far from Paito, and I have never had a vision before. That it couldn't be. And then when I saw him in the crowd, he didn't come to me, so I thought it must be okay.
Amsi looks between Themisto and Phoebe. My apologies. Are you saying that you both have seen this boy before?
And do you not understand? Surely you know the gods take many forms.
He looks over at Melanthos, and Melanthos kind of just like...
I told you he's been with me for a long time.
The Greek, or the Hellenes, and their gods are still new to me.
Amsi saying that?
Mm-hmm. Their ways are similar to the ones in Kemet, but there are differences, I suppose. The ones there always come in the form that they are. The ones here are always shrouded in mystery. It is unusual for me.
It is not so mysterious when it is a form you are familiar with. This form comes to the temple orphans, is a guide, is a brother for us.
You see Melanthos is just like confounded and confused looking. He's just scratching his chin as he looks. And yet, I do not recognize this boy. Laertes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't want to be indelicate, but this may be a good opportunity to examine the body and the daggers if there is some hidden attribute that might be important to this discussion.
I apologize for our in hospitality. I am Melanthos, the head priest here. Would you three, may I ask where you come from?
I'm Cyprus of Thebes. I came here for the competitions.
Even a long way from home.
Laertes of Sagan. I lecture at the symposium.
A man of learning, then.
I am Astrid Romana of Athena. I just docked today, dropping off passengers. Wanted to check out the festivities and ended up here.
Please forgive me, I have walked with you and have not told you my name. I'm Phoebe, originally from Corinthos.
I remember this, Melanthos. I remember the last time I went to Corinthos. It was quite some time ago. A beautiful temple. Oh, I am sorry once again. I do not mean disrespect to you, Phoebe, or you, Themisto. I simply have not seen this boy before in my life. Theodoros was taller, no? His hair finer. His eyes not so close together. It's just... perhaps it is just my old age. Themisto and Phoebe, looking down at the boy as he describes him again, those are traits that you relate to Theodoros. And what he is saying is true. There are aspects now of this boy that do not fit. But you know what you saw when you saw it. And it just doesn't seem to be adding up. It's like the longer that time is passing, the more that this body is not whom you saw before.
Regardless of what he looks like now, the monster and the attackers, they targeted him. If he can take on other people's guises, perhaps that simply melts away on death. Or if this is Apollo, will the sun not rise tomorrow?
Thankfully, that is not the job of Apollo alone. It is shared by Helios. So, perhaps there is still a chance. But if we are right, and he is gone, I think those gifts will have to pass to somebody else. That is the way of things. Surely you know the stories.
Some.
The sight beyond sight, for example, that he had. It was passed from Gaia to Themis, from Themis to Phoebe, another Phoebe. And then, after the slaying of Python and the contrition from Phoebe to Apollo, the world may be without it for a time, and another will take up the mantle. But for something like that, it's not. It will have impacts on my home. But the sun, you see, if it is slower to rise, if the nights are longer, that affects the entire world.
I cannot attest to recognizing this child, but I was trained from a young age to protect people. And one of the techniques that I have mastered is the ability to detect people or beings that are not native here. I can detect beings of great power, both evil and good, and the in-between. And the reason I had noticed him was in the crowd. He literally shone before my eyes. So I don't know who he was, but I suspect he was a god.
You are lucky to have seen him.
Melanthos looks over at Cypress. Strange, then, that I did not. But more to himself than accusatory. Phoebe, what were you going to say?
Could I make some kind of check, whether religion or whatever you decide, just and kind of like reaching out for that feeling of that closeness that I had with Apollo when I was young? If I can still connect with that in any kind of way. I think Phoebe is still holding on to the idea that he has to still exist, that it's just this form that's gone. She's desperately clinging to that idea.
Yeah, I'd say you can make a religion check with that.
It's only a 9.
Phoebe, in the last few years, that feeling had faded. Only recently, hours ago it seems, did that feeling start to slide back into your heart, like sunlight cutting through a clouded sky. Brief, passing, and movement. And you tried desperately to find that brief moment. You hadn't thought about it before, except for whenever you were in his presence. And then thinking back on it when you had parted ways, it had shifted away again, but was still lighting those clouds. Not visible like it had been before, but still like the sun hiding behind dense cloud layer, still trying to press through, more so than it had been before. And you search for that feeling once again, and you're unsure if you feel it there. You would imagine that loss, that cloud inside, would be completely darkened, that it would completely eclipse any light that is inside. But there is not a darkness that you feel, and that is at the moment the only solace. There is no complete loss. You just can't see it.
No, the sun will come up tomorrow when it's supposed to. It's just the divinity has left this form.
You see Amsi wrapping his fingers together like this. What can you tell me about you said there were cultists involved. Tell me about these cultists.
I didn't get a good look at them. I looked to the other three.
We got up with them. I, the player, I'm saying this. We got up with them very close. So I'm going to just carefully manipulate the air into a representation of who I saw on the stands, the two of them, before the pinata-ing of the woman.
Even
And the dagger kind of just like a separate image next to them so he can kind of see the bits and pieces of the puzzle.
Melanthos' eyes widen. Amsi even looks pretty impressed by this. He turns to Laertes. Amsi does. I'm sorry, I meant no disrespect. I was not aware that we were in the presence of the divine. He kind of bows his head a little bit.
No. I'm just a person who studies math. That's it.
Even if there's one thing we have learned in the lands of Kemet, is even math has its principles in the divine, and the understanding of how the world revolves.
To a certain extent, I think we can agree on this.
He looks at the conjured. I'm assuming this is minor image that you're using.
Yeah.
At the conjured images. I'm just kind of like cocking his head to the side as he kind of.
I'll sort of rotate and zoom as necessary just to try and help him enhance.
Was a moment when we thought we had him. He called out to Phobos, and blood spewed from his mouth. And he
Immediately, both Melanthos and Amsi turn to you. Phobos, Amsi says.
Phobos.
You are certain that the name of Phobos was invoked?
The name was said twice.
Amsi looks at some of the others, then
I
looks
did
over
hear
at
it, right?
Melanthos.
I did hear them say Phobos. I wasn't sure if I was near it when it was said.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of his like initial announcement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what he shouted out to everybody, or to the whole crowd that was there.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was just, I think it was the one at the end. I wasn't sure how much of it I caught. Because I think Astra was the one that was very close to him.
Melanthos looks to Themisto and Phoebe. Did you hear any of this as well?
Did we hear that?
You
I know we heard the
shouting.
initial thing.
Yeah, you heard the initial shouting. And I would say, I'm trying to remember now.
Did
because
she
I know
cry
in
out to Phobos at the end?
No.
I think it was just
one that we
him
were
kind of
fighting.
just
Just
doing
him.
the magical cyanide.
Yes, that was when it was mentioned. Which you were. That's why I was like, Laertes was close enough for that. But during the initial shouting, the only thing that was mentioned was that the gods.
The god
fear,
once feared.
and they will fear again.
He did
Amen.
call out when he was levitated, Phobos, help me.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
were across the courtyard.
Yeah.
I did not hear that name specifically, but he cried out about the gods being afraid.
Okay.
And that they would be afraid once more.
As I said, and Themisto points to the writing from earlier that she made.
You see Melanthos and Amsi share a look again. That is, I need to get better at distinguishing these two freaking NPCs.
You're doing great. And I mean,
Melanthos. Those are very particular words that were used. The gods fear. Such a thing has not happened in over several hundred years. The gods fear nothing anymore.
who's Phobos?
Amsi, who looks deep in thought. he and Demos are said to be agents of fear and chaos. Very seldom are they ever mentioned in any sort of positive light.
They spew monsters.
At least according to some of these stories. They
Ooh.
have not been spoken of in quite some time, though.
Astrid looks at Themista when she says that.
Wait, when
And
what
then
was
looks
said?
back again at the other guy.
What did I miss in that? I think I missed some words.
Just Astrid said that they are said to spew monsters, and then when she said that, she looks over at Themisto for a second.
Can I roll a
Also,
perception?
the deep chanting that happened in the music as Astrid said that was so cool.
Can I make a perception check to see if I picked up on that look at Themisto?
Sure.
Okay. A 9 again. Apparently that's what I'm rolling tonight.
It's all right. You're a little perturbed at the moment. There's a lot going
Mhm.
on, so it actually kind of makes sense. Themisto, I wanted you to see if you picked up on that. Make a perception check,
Okay.
if you will.
It's just all the snakes in her hair just start hissing
Oh,
in
no.
one direction.
My snakes are currently under my hood still, so I'm not going to give myself that bonus that I have for them. It's just going to be an ordinary perception check.
Okay.
Ooh, here's
Which
that.
would make it instead a 14.
Okay. I would say that you may have picked up the look in your direction, but maybe not the necessarily like just like as in the casual like him looking your way, but not
Yeah.
maybe have made that connection.
I don't want to press the issue, but since we are kind of circling back and forth on the topic, may I examine the body and the daggers while we're at it?
As you are one of the scholars here from Ilamayu, I think that would be a good thing, yes? She looks to everyone else.
I don't profess that I could sense or determine anything divine, but whatever else that they may have done may still leave some residual effects. Would be worth noting. And
What
Yep.
role,
No.
which role would you like to use for this?
well, I was going to start with sense or detect magic and then identify, because I want to just cover my bases with the daggers and the body. If there's anything that's going to spike off of them, I'd be sort of just sitting down, kind of doing this ritualistically rather than just at will casting. So it'd be just this little gem would kind of just sort of hover in air and kind of just lightly spin as he's trying to just ironically divine what's going on here.
I'll start
I get it.
unwrapping the shawl from the body as he begins to examine.
Cypress keeps his own golden dagger not concealed.
Okay. But you just have it in your hand, or just have it on you. You said
Yeah,
it is
it's-
concealed or it's not.
It is concealed. I accidentally threw it in negative.
Okay. Keep it. You're keeping it concealed. Got it.
Would
Um,
Astra have brought the dagger out at that point? Just laid it down?
If you
or...
guys are doing, I would have taken it out of the wrapping and just maybe placed it on the table or so.
you wrapped it in the robes, right?
Hmm.
The cultist robes.
Yeah.
It's
So-
poofed away. It's vanished.
It's dematerialized like they do in games all the time. All right. So, Laertes, as you said you were looking over the boy first, right? The body.
Yes.
You're looking over the dagger that he presented. Which one?
I'll go with the boy and then the dagger. And it'll be detect magic first, just to see if anything kind of just abruptly pops.
Okay.
And then just for flavor, I'll come stand right beside the Misto after it and wrap the boy.
Okay. Looking at the body of the child, you don't see any sort of remnants. Wait. Something's fading. It's like seeing the ends of an ember. Something within the core. And it's just beginning to cool. Not enough to gather a sort of specific color or school, well, to this per se, but just the presence of, it's like magic is leaving, but it's at its very center, something that would not be attributed to a human's passing. I don't know if Laertes has ever seen someone die before, but enough to know, you're schooled enough to know.
Sadly, he has.
Okay, well, in that case, by personal experience, you have not seen this happen before, but it is as if magic of some sort is fading, and it is just the smallest embers of it, and just enough time has passed that you can detect something. You look over at the dagger, and it has no magical effects to it, nor does the cloak.
It's just completely inert is what I'm getting off of it. I'm just going to be thorough and also do identify on first body just to see if I can get a. Sorry, was that what you were already giving me, or
The body,
was that?
yes. Well,
But you were giving me the tech magic first. Is that
detect
what?
magic, yes.
Okay, I'm going to do identify to see if there's anything else I can get out of that. And as I would say, the action seemed kind of cursory, like I've practiced this many times before. But as I clearly lock onto something and I start kind of just, it's like trying to do this cat's cradle with these strands of blue energy, and I'm trying to interpret and see and unravel what it is I'm looking at. Like I've started to zone in on something.
The Misto is watching Laertes' movements like super duper intensely.
Okay. I was reading what all it goes into the identify spell, and I did see that you do have to touch these items throughout the casting of the spell, which is interesting because I don't think in all of Game of Santos I ever had
Kindred do that.
Kindred do that. That's wild. I did not ever, like, my mind went to the information and not what is required. Okay.
So I have no expectation that it's going to give me anything. I just wanted to try to see.
No, I'm trying to diffuse, figure out how to word this. Because Detect Magic didn't detect any magic currently working on them, this does say that magic imbued object, you learn the properties and how to use them. So to me, it kind of gives you a little bit of a wishy-washy, because like, if magic was imbued through it at a time, I feel like that would be picked up by this. Even
right, like there's a faint.
Yeah, even though there's not a current magic is not a magic item, it was used in, like the dagger, for example, was used in a
It's
ritual.
just the residual warmth rather than the actual.
Correct. So
You can see the scraping of the rifling on the inside of the chamber of the gun that fired the bullet.
Basically. Even though you didn't see the bullet or the gunpowder, you can see the effect that it had. The dagger was used in a ritual of some sort of opening and summoning, just as Cypress had surmised before. This kind of, what do you call this? Do you call this magic? This kind of manipulation of reality, we'll say.
I suppose it would matter in what way it was being used.
Yeah.
Like he's, as much as he has been studying it, he doesn't understand all of it. He doesn't know how to classify all of it because he's still learning it and still
Right.
trying to classify and categorize things.
Right. So
This
kind
type of calculus.
this type of special, yeah.
Look, man,
Trigonometry.
if you want to know about quadrilaterals, we'll get into it. But
No. It's fine. You can keep your fractions and decimal points to yourself.
Laertes taught Pythagoras.
That's his child. Okay.
What in the name of geometry is this?
Yeah.
oh no, now you really
In the
am
Harry
reminded of the
Potter
song by
movie when-
Sting.
In Harry Potter movie, when Quirrell's starting to rot, he's just like, "What is this math?"
Okay.
Okay.
Was
It was a summoning, or was it like an uncorking? Like they had stuffed this in a person and kind of just waited to pop the cork.
with your studies into the realms of these bendings of the rules of what is and what isn't, you know that there are certain ingredients necessary for things to happen. This seemed to be using the sacrifice of such an individual as the ingredient for this to happen. So it wasn't so much that the dagger itself is magical, but the working it was basically the tool. It was used as a tool in this. And the sacrifice was a catalyst for the outcome that you saw. The body is much more complex of an issue for you to resolve. As close to a human body as this is, it is not made up of the same pieces or ingredients. In fact, it is much simpler than that. You identify at most 5 or 6 different elements within this doll, for any lack of a better term.
As I start to come to that realization that there is something of artifice to this, and I start looking at it just with my eyes, does that become more apparent? Like how a puzzle is very obvious to a person that's already solved it. Like, do I start to see the seams kind of thing? Not literally, but the more metaphorical seams on the body.
Something to that effect. You look particularly at the wound. You can see what it would, the effect of whatever creation was done on this, or unraveling, if you will. That you can see the burns like acid on skin. You can see the rupture like blades cutting through flesh. All of these inflicted wounds on the body of this child. And yet the flesh looks slightly different. I hate to use a term like chicken, but it is like a whiter flesh. It is not a red flesh like you have come to expect in humans, or have come to see in humans. It is a whiter, baser flesh. There does seem to be blood.
Diogenes and Plato are going to have a fight now because of this.
There does seem to be a measure of some sort of liquid, like a blood-like substance, but it's not clotting like blood does. It seems to just have flowed from the body and still looks liquidy, almost as if it is made with water. It doesn't seem to have, like, from an untrained eye, all of the elements are there. It's got flesh, blood, bones, but
it's put together bizarrely.
Yeah, it's like it's the generic brand of all of those things. It
The
lacks
great value human.
Yeah, it lacks all of the things that make a person, even though
Okay.
they are there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of just the numbers, HUD, everything kind of just sort of simmers down into nothing, and just I don't know exactly what I'm looking at beyond the fact that this was never natural. This was created. This is some homunculi, an artificial person.
I told
None
you
of
this
the-
was the form he took, and now his divinity has left it.
The residual energy that is might be gone by the time I finish this sentence. It wasn't what you would get from a human. There's something else, something more.
Now do you see? She looks around the room expectantly.
I see. I don't know what this means for us.
Neither do I.
Is this something that should be announced? Or
You see Melanthos immediately like perks up and is like, no, I don't believe that this is something that we should be telling anyone. As far as we know, it was just a boy who died under an attack of crazed cultists. This could not possibly get any more complicated than it is. There is a knock on the door.
Oh,
I
You
look
said
at
the thing.
I look at him just like, how could you?
I'm gonna. As he goes to the door, I'll look at Phoebe. Phoebe, if you're right, then I agree with Melanthos. We shouldn't say anything. There might be hope. And-
What would we say, that this form of him is gone and he's off to find another?
Right, I don't want to scare people if
He's
the worst hasn't come to pass.
Misto, it is not the night. It is just a cloudy day. He is not gone.
You know,
I admire
there's
your faith. I hope you are right.
a lot of the guards and people there seem to believe that we might be behind whatever this is. If we are not being open about what has transpired, which I'm not necessarily suggesting we do, but if we don't have a story to tell, we start being conspirators.
We tell the truth. A boy died. Someone I have traveled with for a long time. He was from my temple. I knew him there.
The words have already
door-
started to spread.
The door opens and you see Melanthos take a step back. General Arius, what are you doing here? And
Could
all
you
turn.
spell that for me, please?
Yes.
and me.
Because I never
Feeling
spell
it's
names
very
the same
similar
way.
to one name with an extra vowel.
Sorry, we were looking for a silent Q with a reverse.
General
O back.
areas.
Let me make sure that I
Especially all these Greek names with a plethora of vowels.
With us trying to do our accents.
And me
Yeah.
getting hung up on every L.
I put it in.
Not what I was
Thank
expecting.
you.
I put it in the Twitch chat, and I will send it to you guys in the Discord chat too.
I appreciate it.
As you all turn to see this exclamation, you see in the doorway a tall 6'17", or what is it that LV always
Oh,
says?
it's Aaron.
7'19". You see this tall man remove his warrior's helmet and place it over to the side, this tight, curly black hair, and the most dour and serious face as his hand clasps at a sword at his side. His armor shines this brilliant bronze and silvers. Until further notice, all of you are under the arrest for attacking during a festival of Apollo.
Well, there's
And that's where we're going to go on break.
as we do, and we can answer this when we come back. Can Cypress's eyes flash and he scans the room?
Sure. And we'll get back to that once we come back from break. So don't go anywhere because, you know, I have a feeling things are about to get good. You know, I actually made the. Remember how before we talked about
The
oh
like
my gosh.
Batman spin.
Yeah, I actually made that recently. So I didn't-
Magic Academy.
I didn't put
Magic
that-
Academy.
What
Ooh.
timing?
Friends.
Rated.
What timing? We
Right
literally
as we
Nah.
came back from a.
from
what?
back from break. This is the
Yeah, that's
first
different
ever-
than normal.
We always get rated when we go to break, but now we are rated when we come back from break. So it's almost like we had timed it
Perfect.
because I literally just pressed the button. So congratulations, good job, guys, good job. See, you were worried that you know, you were a mess, but you did so well, Good job, Sweet Lord and Evelyn. Yeah, you did great. I'm sure your stream was amazing, and you guys had all of the fun. So thanks for coming in and saying hello. It's a much appreciated. I don't know why I talk like this for no reason.
Is that General Ares' voice?
Yeah, he
You are
sounds like
under
Mario.
arrest.
You are
like
under
Mario.
arrest. I do not understand. Anyway, I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. Went from Greek to what is
Is
that?
Italian.
It's
sounds like
Italian.
Mario.
Notes.
I mean, if
taken.
this were a Roman campaign, it wouldn't be that far off.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Well. Let me get this party going.
Oh, P.S.
Where
Magic
is-
Academy. We're all getting arrested.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. P.S.
I'm getting arrested for science crimes. This is all I've ever wanted. Get my
You-
Galilean street cred up in here.
Yeah, this
Yes.
isn't even the reason you're being arrested, but when you mentioned that you're not following any gods, that's not going to help.
It's funny that you say Galilean too, considering you and Astrid had a conversation about the way that the planets and the sun are positioned earlier.
See, and that's the thing. You're talking like the sun's not going to come up. I'm not going to bring up the heliocentric
Yeah.
model in front of some people who are grieving despite all the things.
Don't
So you
worry,
would've,
your
like,
god
looked
does
at
not
the-
serve a
The
purpose.
thing being like, looks.
Beautiful. The general.
During that whole conversation, Cypress
general.
is sitting in a corner just.
Playing with a toy. Yeah. He got his
Where do you
shoe
keep
toy.
finding those?
He's got his fidget.
I bring it with me.
Oh, that's fine. It's one of the ones that don't work. Don't worry about it.
We'll start with Cypress. Cypress is your
Money, money.
eyes. Yeah, it is the money song. Your eyes flash as the General Ares opens the door and claims that all of you are under arrest for attacking the festival. Your eyes flash and you look at this man standing before you. I want you to make me a perception check, if you will.
Just in
That's
case
the
it
minus
comes
one.
up for Cypress.
Oh,
he's
nat
got-
22 and 19.
Nice. He's got a plus D8 to his initiative for the next 7 hours or so, give or take.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll try and make use of it this time.
Just in case
I
it comes up.
tripped. Last time I tripped real bad.
Oh no. Okay, Cypress. So that was a natural 20 for the total of what was it?
19.
19. Ah, got it. Right. -1. was
I
like,
serve
wait.
a very particular purpose.
I forgot. I was like, that math does not. How did that happen? Oh yeah, minus. That is. That's a whole other topic. I'm gonna have to like look into. I was like, what happens then? Or do you never get nat 20s for this, or what? But it's fine. 19. I'm gonna say, as your eyes look at this man, there is something that glints on his armor that catches your eye. A particular design set along the edges of the bottom of it, where his belt kind of covers it. You see no sense of divine anything, but there is the briefest moment of a flash along his breastplate, and then it's gone. The general, sword, hand on his sword.
And anyone else in the room, I imagine that the rest of the room is not glowy.
Correct.
Okay.
Laertes, what were you gonna say?
Would it be fair to say that detect magic is still going, or
How long is
Minutes.
detect magic up?
it lasts for 10 minutes?
It's possible. There was a lot of conversation that was
Mhm.
going
Yep,
on.
that's fine.
Yeah. You know what? I will say that just as it's fading, you do see that the breastplate that this general is wearing does seem to have some sort of special aura to it.
Touch it.
An enchantment, if you will. Well, but detect magic. Well, oh wait, detect magic. Oh, you did
Yeah, detect magic just sort of seems like that just sort of alights. It doesn't tell me what it is. It just
either
says
one
that
is
it is
concentration.
magic. Detect magic is concentration. Identify is just a ritual practice at that point.
Okay. Do you have to? Can you do a ritual cast and keep concentration on something else at the same time?
Yes.
Just double check.
As far as I know.
Just double check. We're gonna just say that yes, but it is in the process of passing off, turning it off, whatever you want to call it. But yes, his breastplate is of some sort of magical variety. Until further notice, you will all under arrest for attacking during this festival of Apollo. We have multiple witnesses who say that the chosen man of Apollo, bathed in golden light, was slain by those present here.
Chosen man. Do you not see where you are? The mist is upset.
Yeah.
You can ask them again. That chosen man was no Apollo. That chosen man slain a woman.
Also, who brings these accusations to us? Because they clearly did not see what transpired.
Several of the guards who were posted around the pavilion this evening have
The
all
guards
spoken.
failed to protect someone who died.
He instantly looks over down at the bed and the boy. And then looks over at the priest. Melanthos, are you familiar with any of these 5? Melanthos looks over. Themisto's visiting from Delphi, and Phoebe here comes from the temple in Corinth. These 3 are all visiting here for the festival as well. I don't see how. He holds up a hand. C. Do you second this information that the high priest has given me? Kind of looking around and sensing a little bit of like this awkward tension.
I'm gonna narrow my eyes at MC.
He just kind of nods, just like, yes. I wish to speak to the accused. You are to wait outside.
Who are we are, or
No, he's talking that he wishes to speak to you 5. You see Amsi kind of look to you, Themisto, and he kind of does a little like underhand down, his hand down by his side, just kind of does a little bit of a calming gesture, and then nods to you and walks out the door. Melanthos is just kind of like, the general just kind of gently puts a hand on his shoulder and guides him out the door as he's just like trying to protest.
I'll give the Mr. hand a squeeze again.
The man stands before you. So, you claim that you are not responsible for the attack on the festival. He places a hand on his sword. And yet, there's claims of a golden light that infused a man's coat.
She's going to cast light on his sword and be like, "And you're now Apollo, correct? This is a trick I can do."
It was not said that it was Apollo, but merely one chosen by him.
I could show you exactly what happened if you would allow me. From start to finish. I teach higher sciences at the university.
He reaches into his breastplate and pulls out a small circular coin on a black string around his neck. He grips it, mutters a few words, and releases both sword and necklace. You feel a pulse of energy go across all of you as Zone of Truth is cast. You can feel your mind working with some strange vibration as if compelling you to tell the truth. You can choose to fight this, or you can relent.
Cypress stands there with his arms crossed and doesn't resist it.
I won't resist it either.
I won't.
I want to have total control over what I say, although I intend to tell the truth. So I'm going to resist.
Okay. Where do I go? Okay.
Astrid will remember this.
Who cares if Astrid disapproves? We're not
Yeah, who
romancing
cares?
her on this run anyways.
That's what you think.
I did not pull this up in time. Nope.
Out there, Aaron.
I know that was wrong
You're-
file.
You're telling me you don't somehow have everything you could possibly use?
I know. Open
Everything
up,
up.
with all of my windows.
All
one
50
would-
tabs you would need to do such thing with handmade study guides.
Ah, found it.
I think I'm going to resist as well, just because this unfamiliar wave of compulsion is very uncomfortable, and I don't care for it.
That fits Laertes' vibe. I know I'm rolling something. I'm going to roll this dice, and I'll add numbers to it when you let me know.
Good. Oh, good.
Okay. Going back to this, so I have my dice.
I do believe I may use
What?
that inspiration that was just given to me earlier by
Oh, yeah.
Paco.
Yeah, true.
All right, go ahead and make a charisma saving throw.
Oh, goody.
Boy, that was even lower. Sorry I wasted that, Taco.
No.
I am going to be using my last chronal shift for today to make that not terrible.
There's just a flash of a crazy ton of magic as these two resist.
It's just, well, the great thing about a chronal shift is it's almost like it's going back in time and stopping you from going back in
It's a
time. kind of
retcon.
thing. Yeah, it's nobody saw nothing.
I will have always had done that.
It is a 17.
Can I?
I wound up with a 13 thanks to my low roll.
Can I do an insight on Laertes to see if
Sure.
he is trying to resist that?
Sure.
Has anyone thought about what it would look like? You know how Link in Tears of the Kingdom has some time magic? What it would look like if that were all in
17.
real time? He's just walking and then just suddenly he's teleporting all
Somewhere
over the
over else. Yeah.
17.
17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I meant to roll something for that, or
If you're wanting to, you can. If you're trying to hide that you're.
I'm probably not trying to hide it as much as it was more of a gut reaction to this oppressive force that was rather surprised. on
She's
us.
gonna put a shoulder on Laertes and be like, "We'll be okay." and then you get guidance for that roll if you wanted to add that.
Okay.
It was a 17. I don't know if that changes anything, but I could roll more apparently.
D4.
Okay.
Themista, what did you roll on your charisma?
That was ultimately a 13.
Okay. That was a failure.
That is a 19 in total.
Yes.
That was a success. What was your
Shun the
second
non-believer.
success?
He dies. Sorry.
No, everybody else kind of let it happen, right?
Mhm.
Okay. 19 was what you needed.
Ooh.
I've just
And you
incriminated
weren't
myself,
gonna
but
take that guidance.
You look, you see the general look over at Laertes, look over at the Mistode, whomst like he raises an eyebrow. Who was it that attacked the festival? He looks to all of you.
may I
Yeah.
display the events as they occurred?
He looks you up and down very slowly. Are you capable of such things?
It's just a small image that I could conjure.
He just nods.
He's been sitting down pretty much where he was when he was examining the body and the dagger. So he's just been kind of like sitting there like this for most of it. And just very slowly. And he just displays the image from his own sort of first person view of walking through the crowd, looking to the person beginning to shout, and the words associated, the dagger, the uncorking of that horrific animal, it trying to leap through the air, him trying to slow it down to little to no effect, and the chaos of the crowd, the fight, trying to hold this dagger wielder aloft in the air. Oop.
He'll be back.
Beep boop.
The trying to stop the beast and showing Cypress, who's no longer with us, rest his soul, smiting the creature as there's a third person that was up near where we found the boy to be, and Themasto and Phoebe third person sort of not dancing, but sort of just in the melee. And then the guards come up, and then like the image ends.
He looks over at the rest of you. And do you know who these individuals are? Did they say anything?
There is a cloak back inside that
That
holds.
He
Yes.
points down at the table where the
Oh,
dagger
I
is.
thought we were out. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
because they shuffled everybody. They shuffled the priest out, and he kept you in this room.
Gotcha. Okay. The man who stabbed the other cultist screamed the name of Phobos to be a guide, to help. There was a third person who left before the events.
Actually, I think they're dead. There
The
was the
third-
one who was cut open, and there was the one who attacked this child.
Then there was one more who
The
walked
man.
away before.
I think we counted all three.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They had walked away,
You're
but then she
confusing-
she
yeah,
ran
out
out
of
of the crowd later.
Character, yeah, that's the woman that attacked
Oh,
Apollo.
okay.
Because remember, she had been
Gotcha.
moving forward, and we thought she was.
Now the general is angry that we can't get our story straight.
Well,
There.
Astrid wouldn't have seen that, so then, yeah.
There were two bodies. It the pavilion, and one skin. These
Those
are
were the three cultists.
And it is them who unleashed that creature, the aberration.
Yes. Also, whoever accused us seems to have not noticed either the monster that I slayed or the manner of death of two of the people. Blood expelling from in their mouths.
The general looks over to the side as if staring at something. I see. Phobos. Do you know who this boy was?
My brother.
From Corinthos.
Yes.
He shakes his head. And you? He looks over at Themisto. Traveling Pythia, eh?
In training.
His eyes narrow to you, and briefly, you feel the slightest presence on your mind, just as if someone strokes your hair or strokes your head, just bringing a hand from front to back, not in any sort of like intrusive way, just as if someone is just touching the inside of your brain. Which sounds
That's
worse
not
than-
intrusive.
Yeah, I was like, which sounds a lot worse than I meant for it. Touching your
Not
mind.
even reading your mind, just stroking it for a second. Yeah.
You know how it goes. It's fine.
Just giving it the full bowling ball treatment, nothing to worry about, folks.
What could they be after? It would seem that the guard's version of things is a perception of the majority of the crowd. You know that people take many things as signs and omens. You are familiar with this. He looks over at Themisto. Reading of things. Yes.
They are wise too, but there are people who are trying to do it properly.
Indeed. When he says that, you don't know if he means you or someone else. The tone seems to like kind of imply. But you see how, from their point of view, a light was cast on a man during the sacrifice to Apollo. The coincidental timing of it would seem to indicate favor. Do you not agree, Themisto?
Again, I must interrupt. Whoever has these details from this attack that we allegedly led seems to have missed so many obvious points of that exchange.
True.
When there was a bright light, the man shouted that the gods shall fear again. He cut a woman open and a monster sprang out. He attacked us. He attacked this child over here. So I don't know how you happened to see a light, determine that it was Apollo's chosen, and then miss the rest of that, sir.
If it was a warning that Apollo was giving to the others, people see what they want to see, divine what they want to divine, when there is no one to tell them otherwise. He looks at Themisto again. They interpret things just as they saw them. Nothing more and nothing less. For the moment, the people of Ilum see demigods fighting a monster that was unleashed upon them. They see this during a festival to Apollo and the sacrifice to him. There are inconsistencies in their story, yes, but it is nonetheless what the people have seen. You, he looks over at Themisto, will have to address the people. You will have to tell them what the Pythia would see in these signs. And you must do so convincingly. It is a very slippery slope divinity. And the responsibility of the Pythia is quite divine, if I do say so myself. Not that I would have any knowledge of such things. He wraps his fingers on the helmet.
Can I insight check this guy?
Sure.
T1.
21? Hey, look, you rolled higher than a 9.
Yay!
This man came in hot, very sure of what he was here to do. And now he seems to be taking into account everything that was said. But with a level of, how do I put it? With everything that is changing, all the information that is being given to him, and you've known many a male general and soldier before, he was rather quickly convinced. I trust that your training is far enough along that you will be able to convince. Knowledge is
I will
important.
do my best to render an interpretation of these events. I have only just left Delvi. This is my first stop.
It would seem that it was by divine intervention that you arrived here when you did.
It would seem that.
The king and queen may wish to speak to you. But before they do, I have to die first. I got a piece of cookie crumb in my throat.
He melts and turns into a doll, and we're like, what is happening?
Indeed. Let me switch to this real quick.
My partner, he makes amazing snickerdoodles.
Those are the best cookie.
Yeah, true.
They are so good.
Okay, we're gonna go this way. It's fine. He looks at all of you. There will be many who say and claim that you are children of the gods. They are clamoring it now in the streets, that we have been blessed by many a demigod here this evening. If they do not claim that you are gods yourselves, what will be your response to these things? That you are simply a man of math?
Just a
Yeah.
scholar.
A daughter of light? A boy from Thebes? Lost children of Apollo? Are you willing to stand by these faces that you must present to the people?
Oh, man. Zone of Truth is doing a number on Themisto right now.
Let them think what they will, but I will not stand for slander to my name.
Then we play the part that they have given us.
He looks over at Laertes.
I've never professed to be a man of any particular faith, and I'm not going to be professing that I am faith manifest now.
Looks over at Phoebe.
I am nobody.
I doubt that.
Themisto gives Phoebe kind of a concerned look.
I will speak to my betters. Prepare what you must say. But know that from this point forward, the Weavers have tied your destinies together for a reason. The fact that Phobos is making a move now is of great concern.
If you're so concerned about Phobos and that we're wrapped up in this, what can you tell us?
Yes, please. On this, we don't disagree, General.
I sense a very old blood running through all of you. Nothing has happened here without a reason. And to add to that, anything that I say, if spoken again, you will not see the next sunrise. Am I clear?
I feel like with the Zone of Truth under effect currently, Themisto feels compelled to say a little bit more. They call me a daughter of Gaia back home. And she's gonna pull her hood down. And everyone sees these very pretty blue snakes coming from her head. They're all kind of low and bunched in close and looking at the general at this point.
Just nods in understanding. He takes his helmet and sets it on the table. And his form shifts ever so slightly. The breastplate begins to glimmer a brilliantness. The boots around his feet become more solid. I don't know what the Greek form of a skirt is. The kilt, the Greek.
Hasset, I think, is what they
Tasset.
used.
Okay. Takes on not a metal and not a fabric-like quality to it. It's almost segmented still all the way across like the little belts, but this looks almost, to us, a sort of woven in plastic fiber. There are elements of his armor that gleam a golden and blue light that seems to like shimmer back and forth. It gives it a very, thank you, carbon fiber. That's what I was looking for. I could not think of the term. It almost gives this very like Tron-like lights on parts of his armor that seem to just kind of glimmer back and forth. Even the helmet that is on the table beside has lost its illusion. Phobos presents a danger to everyone. He presented a danger in the past, and he's presenting a danger now to the future of all here on Terum. If he is making a play at bringing fear back amongst our kind, it must mean that he has some sort of plan. And whatever it is, he must not be allowed to complete it. There are some of us who have chosen to live out the rest of our days in obscurity. But not all of us. And definitely not my brother. He looks down at the boy. If this form is fallen, then he must be taking shape in another.
Can I religion check to see if I've got the know-how to understand who this is
Sure.
based off of the context clues and his armor and stuff?
Mhm.
Nope, I'm rolling super low today.
If it helps, I did ask it out loud.
What did you ask?
I asked, "Who are you?"
Oh. I am, as I said, Ares.
Can I kneel?
You want?
I'm gonna kneel.
I have fought beside my siblings for longer than many of you have been, or your families have been alive.
Yeah, Themista's gonna bow herself too. The snakes go from looking apprehensive to looking submissive.
Cypress doesn't get it for a while, but after he sees because he had used his vision and was certain that this was not a god, but after seeing Phoebe and Themisto kneel, something clicks in his brain, and he will definitely drop to one knee.
Laertes does not. He's already sitting on the floor. He's not being irreverent. He's just not being reverent.
Yeah.
And Astrid fainted.
To be fair, there's precedent for that.
He
Somebody get her EpiPen.
he takes Phoebe, and it's Phoebe's hand. He extends his hand out towards you, and tries. And if you take it, he's going to lift you up.
Yeah, it'll take her a second, but she'll take it.
You may
Themisto's
rise.
doing that thing where her head's down, but her eyes are looking over like, oh man, look at this.
He just tells everybody to rise from where they're at.
Cypress will.
Tomorrow, when you go before the king and queen, you are not to speak of any of this. Is that understood?
Yes.
As sure as the stars are held in the firmament.
You see him for a briefest moment kind of look up and smirk. I will do what I must and reach out to those that I can. And you will be given more information. And perhaps even a task worthy of champions. But it will be a difficult road. The path of a champion is never easy. And you will undoubtedly see and hear and learn things that are not meant for all. This knowledge will undoubtedly test your mettle and your concepts of the world around you. You, he looks over at Themisto, have already been put on such a path. Consider this just an extra chapter in your story. He looks over at Laertes. You are toying with powers you've yet to understand. But your primitive tricks are on the right path. He looks over at Cypress. And you... Huh. He just smirks. A daughter of light. He looks over at Astrid. I know some who would very much wish to speak to you. The more I think on it, the more that this twisting of the weaves makes sense. Let us pray that we are not too late to stop whatever it is that Phobos is planning.
Papa. No.
He was always a clever boy. He goes over, grabs the helmet from the desk next to him, and the moment his hands touch it, everything reverts back to its metallic and shining general's breastplate form. The fabric and the leather around his course thing. I forgot the word already. Tacit. Return. The tall boots become those wound sandals with the metal shin guard that also have names, I'm sure. For the time being, you are removed from any sort of speculations as to this attack. But I will need the Pythia in training to speak to the city tomorrow and address the unfortunate events that occurred. After which you will be taken to the king and queen. And if I have received word from others, it will be passed to you. Sleep well, children of gods. He goes to the door and walks out.
As he goes, Cypress takes a step forward and calls out to him, "My lord,
He stops.
We
and
did-
just does the dramatic head over the shoulder anime move of
we did not hurt your brother. We tried to save him. I swear by everything."
it would take creatures far stronger than you to kill that boy. Believe me, I've tried. He keeps walking. You all are left for a moment, reeling from the close encounter. As it all starts to sink in. The stories of the gods. And just small hints as to that which they feared and what that could be. What are you guys doing?
Cypress,
Thresto exhales.
Cypress
Cypress.
looks at the group, and then just kind of turns and goes and crouches in a corner. This was supposed to be so simple. And he just like puts his head in his hands.
You were meant for more than just the games, Cypress. This is a calling from the gods that you are asking for.
You're right. But this... Until now, I have never seen any of the gods, and now I've seen two, and one has died before me.
He's
Technically
not
3.
dead.
I don't know what you're referring to with that first one.
He is not dead, Cypress.
Still, whatever that is over there, it was killed. That shouldn't be possible, right?
It was a form. And the gods take many forms.
But it. Cypress is right to be worried. Just as we are right to be here. Apollo, he saw this was going to happen and he brought us all together. And she kind of looks over into Phoebe's eyes when she says that. But to need all of us, to ask this of us, it must be a challenge like Vivian has not seen in a long time. We have to live up to this. We have to be worthy.
What do we do now? We just stop our lives? What we've been working with?
Yes, you don't refuse the call of the gods.
The people
We will
say
have to
that
get
we
back.
killed them. Someone... I don't know how that story would travel. Of all the stories that could come from what happened tonight, How could anyone possibly get just the right or wrong facts that we attacked anyone?
And believe
Phobos.
me,
I've never been to Thebes, so I don't know how large a city it is, but surely you know how gossip travels.
people
Phobos.
have strong imaginations.
But there were plenty of things there that would spark the imagination. What if
Phobos.
someone has it out for us?
Astrid is right.
Phobos is an agent of chaos. Perhaps when that man called out, Phobos made the people around see what they wanted to see. To create the chaos.
Ah,
Make them fear us.
that is insightful. It's not something that I had thought about. But it does make sense. It makes my job tomorrow all the more difficult.
Perhaps I
Despite being
misunderstood.
called by the gods, I am not one.
Despite I might misunderstand the role that you mentioned, Themisto, but why do you have to make an announcement?
You see, you heard of Delphi?
Yes.
Well, I am currently traveling, hoping to one day take the role of Patia. I am one of a number of women who may be able to wear that mantle. But I need to understand the world, to see things so I can interpret the visions of Apollo. Because I am here, and the Pythia herself is not, it falls to me to interpret these signs and to let the people know what it is happened, what the gods could mean by this. Perhaps this would be a role better suited for Marantos. They trust him.
The gods have asked you.
Exactly. So that is what I'm going to do.
Wonder what they want us to do about this. If the gods are at war, mortals can't do much about that.
Only play our parts.
I guess there's not much else to do, certainly if we're not allowed to do anything else.
You seem off-put.
Me? Or are you referring to Laertes scowling over there?
I suppose the both of you.
Musing on a great many things, not the least of which is irony.
Well, I mean, yes, I am. I came here to simply spread my name, literally. I'm trying to literally get famous. For as silly as that sounds, but I was hoping to do that with less complicated acts. Of course, this could be a great way for that, but certainly if one of the gods is against us and is able to maliciously spread rumors about who we are and what we achieve, and that makes it that much harder.
Yes, but one just spoke to your future. And what better way to have your name known, to be a champion, for your story to live on long after you're gone.
And if it is Apollo who brought you to us, he made quite a sacrifice for you to get your wish.
I didn't know him. he might have guided me here, but also, he looks at Phoebe. My name doesn't have to survive beyond me. It just needs to be spread while I'm still here. As far as I'm actually concerned, if the world forgets me as soon as I die, that doesn't matter.
Well, then is it time to make your name known, champion?
May the gods provide us with opportunity. And not the ones that have it out for us.
What are you thinking, Laertes?
Thinking of the fact that this is an opportunity to go out into the world and get more knowledge, but also potentially leaving it languish at home if there's no one to teach it. My biggest fear is I'll give my classes to Palanos instead of someone qualified.
Do you make those musings like in character to everybody, or just
That was sort of
privately?
the narrative of side, but these looks very, very pensive, and the two people who would have seen him at the school actually would have even seen Palanos, probably can gauge at least a little bit of some apprehension, but probably more issues than that.
I'm sorry, you all have gotten wrapped up in this. You all seem like nice people.
Were you saying that too specifically?
Everyone. Sorry, you all seem to have gotten wrapped up in this.
This is not how I expected the first leg of my journey to go, but I am ready to do what I am called to do.
Been wanting to throw myself into an adventure for quite some time. So this feels right.
Mm.
You all have my ship, if need be.
Thank you.
Wherever we need to go.
I don't know what you all would ask of me, but certainly as long as we are together, you can expect me to have your back, and I will protect you if I can. I've never
how
had
you
to
handled
protect
that
4
beast.
people at once.
I believe you are up to the task.
I'm not entirely certain what I could lend to this expedition. I'm physically insubstantial.
But you have great power.
I watched you closely earlier. There is something great about you. I would like to learn.
I am baffled by what you do.
Well, perhaps we can pass the time by letting me explain about it a little bit more.
Ooh, I was never that great at studies.
He's like, ooh, homework?
A lecture. Oh.
About
If-
that.
I mean, if
I've had
it
worse
is
students.
I'm gonna go to the gym.
Yeah. Does this count? Like, coach said I had to pass.
for
I
every
really want the himbo to be casting level 9 arcane magic now. Just
Oh, no.
if you want to take it upon yourself to try and relay any of your knowledge to me, I will try and be a worthy student, but I promise nothing. And don't promise the opposite, but then I nearly promise the opposite.
I'll appreciate the attempt. And who knows? Maybe something of it will prove useful to you.
I liked that. What was that thing in your office? That little round bubble thing.
He sort of just you get the impression he was hiding it honestly like up a sleeve or something, but it kind of just sort of conjures up kind of in the air in front of him.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. It has too many names and not enough of them are comprehensive enough.
Oh gods, we're starting off rough with
Yeah.
the learning.
You joke, but I
Lesson
have
one,
I
you
have about
can't
10
comprehend
different
this.
names in Greek written down for it that all apply and yet none of them apply fully.
Oh,
I suppose the easiest thing that I can say about it is that it helps me do what I do. It is knowledge, it is potential, it is, I suppose the most succinct word I can think of is dynamo. We'll get to that. Although speaking of which, I really should get back to the university and find out who is going to take over my classes.
are they allowing us to leave?
We all
I
have
mean,
much to
it
do
seems like
before
we're not
tomorrow.
under arrest anymore, which is good. But is it kind of like house arrest or temple arrest?
Only one way to find out.
I'm gonna go to my ship.
I guess I'll stay here if I'm not imposing. I don't have anywhere else to be.
If you'd like to stay with me, you can. But we're likely going to be at one of the inns or up on the ship.
Sure, that's probably a better place for me to interpose myself than
That goes for
the
any of you.
temple.
If you do not feel safe here, you can stay there as well.
Oh, I
Look for the sail with the Seahawk.
With the what?
The
The
Seahawk.
Seahawk. Oh.
Hmm.
Thank you. I'll just come with you.
I must tend to this fallen form. Whether or not someone is passing to Hades tonight, it deserves to be treated with respect.
Is there anything that healing can do for him? I imagine not, but
He is not in this form anymore.
I poured my heart out to Gaia there on the festival grounds. Nothing happened.
well, I guess I'll see you all tomorrow then.
Guess we're going to figure out where we're even going after this.
I am sure it will reveal itself in time.
May the fates weave it so.
For what it's worth, I am grateful for your help.
I suppose
In
one
case
of
you
us
were
has
talking-
to try to leave first, so I'll go find out for science.
For science, break the laws.
Breaking the law, breaking the law. I'm just gonna start heading on out to see if anybody stops me.
Yeah, I'll follow him just in case someone manhandles my friend the moment he gets outside.
Just pull the absent-minded professor routine as you walk out. I don't know.
This isn't my house.
Esther's going to awkwardly walk over to Themisto. Thank you for standing up for us.
So, Turn
Both
her
of you.
head. And the snakes kind of do their own version this way, that way. It's like, and likewise.
I have a lot
It
to
is
think
not
about.
everyone who would come to our aid in a situation. I did beseech Apollo for courage, and he did answer.
I have much to think about. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Little snake tongues.
You walk out of the room. Immediately on the other side, you see Melanthos and, oh my god. It's okay. One
I'm
day.
Fat man.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Amsi.
Amsi.
Amsi, yeah.
He's the cat
One-
man.
You know, we're only 3 episodes in. These names will stick eventually. Melanthos and Amsi are on
Until
the
you
other
take us to a
side.
new city with new, people.
Oh, don't worry. This is game. Well, it's Knights of Silvermoon. We'll just take all the NPCs with us.
We're
We have a
grabbing
ship
yours.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we fit Odessa in a sack?
Okay.
Let's give her a real loud whistle.
A real loud whistle. Oh no.
I'm thinking a name that starts with R maybe would fit your ship a little better.
Oh boy.
And then we can
Oh,
rename
boy.
Odessa.
What's the name of your ship? I missed it.
I'm not renaming Odessa Max. I'm not having her go
And
down to
then
Hades.
rename her a kind of bird. You know,
But like a little bit, because she's
it's
small.
a very small bird.
Oh no. I get it now.
And if there is another one, another orphan that you have come to like, maybe we can take them along too and also name them after a bird.
We have parakeet.
But like a louder bird slightly.
And cockatoo. Anyway.
Sorry, this is called back to campaign 1 if any of you did watch this.
It's all on
very
YouTube.
in-joke type of thing, but probably like 306 episodes ago, so...
It's fine. Okay. You go outside and immediately they Melanthos is kind of like, "Are you going to be all right? If you need a place to stay, the general told me that you are to be given a place here if you wish. We do not want you being lost amongst the city." He looks kind of like the way when he says that.
I have to make arrangements. I have many responsibilities that I have to keep up with and find someone to take over for.
Of course. I will see to it that the city guard escorts you safely. There is quite a crowd that has gathered outside the doors.
I'm just now remembering that.
Amsi is like, yes. After all, it is not every day that we have the divine amongst us. There's a little bit of a smirk. Astrid is your name? And you, young man, are... I'm sorry, I have forgotten.
There.
Cyprus.
Oh, he's with us as well. Sorry.
Yes, the Cyprus of Thebes.
I thought he stayed behind. Sorry.
Thebes, of course. Ansi looks over at Melanthos. Have the guard meet us in the gardens outside. Melanthos looks completely dumbfounded for a second and then goes, "Oh, yes, the gardens outside. Of course, I will go and tell them right away." He goes over to the door, and Ansi goes over to the right side of the temple, like foyer, and gestures for Laertes, Astrid, and Cypress to follow him. Come with me. There are passageways, and then there are passageways within these temples. We can at least provide you with a small medium of discretion as you leave.
For the first time since he's got to the temple, he actually seems excited by this little tidbit of information.
You are led into a secret passage that takes you outside of the temple, to a small gated garden on the outsides of the temple grounds. It seems to be a small little statue to Hecate. And as the passageway leads outwards,
She totally just painted herself silver.
I've been to that busker festival. I know exactly what it looks like.
but you guys are led out, and you see two of the city.
Would anyone of those three, I'm asking your behalf, recognize that statue?
Hey, look, it's a statue of Helena.
Unless it
Astrid
looks
might,
like the woman that I thought I recognized from Thebes. Probably not.
Not really. The form of Hecate tends to have three faces on it, and probably is not going to look exactly like.
It's 1/3 familiar.
It's got an inkling. But yes,
It
you
looks
are,
like she has the basic constructs of a human being. Okay, that's as far as we get.
yeah. Two of the city guard do take you, and will provide you an escort through some of the back streets to get you to your destination, so that you can avoid some of the crowd that has gathered in front of the temple.
Are they temple guards or city guards?
City guards.
Okay. Do they look like any of the ones that were at the event?
Those sons of bitches.
Make a perception check.
Okay. Natural 20 for a 25.
Ooh.
These are not the guards.
Laertes, I'm going to go with you. We'll go with you to get back to your place. That way we know you're safe.
Fair enough. I have to say, it's the first time I've actually walked through the city and been a little uncomfortable walking its streets. So thank you.
Laertes, do you happen to know how mail goes out of this city?
Many ways. There are on-foot couriers, by horse, by ship. Where in particular are you wanting to send something?
Thebes.
Would I know the best way to send something to Thebes?
Probably it's going to be a ship that's on the other side of the Aegean from where you guys are at.
But it's
Sometimes my ship is used to transport
Passageway.
these things.
okay.
Do you know if one's going out anytime soon?
I would not. We are commissioned to carry these things.
If I may, if there's somebody you wish to let know where you're going, wait till we are sure of what our next destination is.
Oh, it doesn't have to be where I'm headed, but
Fair enough.
You have family you need to let know. How long were you supposed to stay here in Elam?
Cypress just kind of stares ahead for a moment.
Does your family know you're out?
Yes. There wasn't really a set time. And he just keeps walking.
All right. Well, eventually, the three of you find your way back to your respective places. Laertes to your room, Astrid and Cypress to the ship on the docks. Phoebe and Themisto, the physician finally arrives to care for the body and prepare it for burial. Not much is said unless you interact with Nissos, Nisos, as he just goes about his work very quietly, respectfully, and mournfully.
Yeah, Themisto's going to be in the odd position of having to give like an Apollonian rite to Apollo. And she would have asked for Phoebe to help.
Yeah, I'll assist in any way.
Okay. I'm assuming, Phoebe, you have been invited to stay at the temple. Are you going to stay there?
Mm-hmm. I would like to speak to Themisto once we finish the rites and as we head to our rooms.
Sure.
Themisto, are you ready for tomorrow?
That I did not know. She's gonna. Are we back at our rooms at this point?
Yep.
I would have
We
waited
were.
till then to.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead and sit down on a little stool and put my head in my hands. But I have to be. So,
I'm gonna tap
Can
the
I-
bracelet on your wrist.
Mm.
Right now, you have been given the most difficult task of all of us.
ah,
But he chose you to be here.
he also chose you. And I am glad he did. You know, I have to put on a face of confidence for the others. Then I am not so sure I can live up to all of these expectations. You know. I think there is still a lot of the little girl that you once met inside the woman you see before you now.
I have unfortunately lost that part of me for a long time. And I came here trying to find her again. I don't know why I'm here. Harry spoke to each of you in the path you were on. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just here to help.
Mm. And there is a deeper meaning, I think. Then perhaps even he could know. Something that Apollo would keep close to. He's just close to his heart.
For now, I will try to help you with some of the courage that you need.
Mm.
I will be there beside you tomorrow.
Thank you.
And there we have it confirmed. He is not gone.
Yes. I had had to explore the notion that perhaps things would be much worse. You know, one day, if I were to succeed, I would have to put people's minds at ease, even in a situation like that.
I think it is something you learn. I saw the mothers do it in my village to their children to ease their fears. It's not
Yes.
so different, I think.
I have seen the way the Budea gives advice, and it is not quite the same, but it is what the people want. And my mother, she did help me quite a lot. So, this bracelet, it was actually a gift from her.
And I'm glad I could return it to you.
Well, I had planned on asking a bit more about what had happened the years that we were apart. But I'm,
There will be
the
time for
fates had
that.
other plans.
It seems as though the fates will keep us together much longer.
Indeed.
You need rest.
I need to think, and I need to pray.
You pray and you rest, and I will wait to make sure the sun rises precisely when it's supposed to.
Themisto looks a little emotional again. I think that even with reassurances that everything is going to be all right, that Apollo's fine, that it's still a bit hard to see. So
I will wake you when the dawn comes.
thank you, Phoebe. The Gaia protect you.
I know Apollo protects you.
As you walk past the large statue, this mighty, mighty being that you have seen through another's eyes, and now having met your second god in person, the feeling of uniqueness to these meetings takes on a new light. You knew that the other gods were real, even though perhaps you had never seen them. But now, something about them seems all the more physical. As you each go to your rooms. Flesh and blood. What does that mean? Are they the same as you? Or are they the same as that boy? Something other, but similar. What does that mean for those with divine power, like the stories of heroes and those of might? You saw Laertes perform great acts before. Is he more like you? Or is he more like the boy? What makes a person divine? Is it their actions? Or the way they waggle their fingers and make mountains move? A multitude of thoughts swirls in your heads as you go to bed. For each of you, similar thoughts, but each of you different perspectives of the same event from the night. What does it all mean? Astrid, are you going to stay on the ship?
I need to talk to the crew about everything that went down today, because they know nothing.
Hey,
Side-
boss, we got you some knickknacks.
Some paddywhacks. Oh, yo-yo
Saddle up,
and-
boys. We're going on an
The
adventure.
locals are calling them tchotchkes.
Cypress, do you stay with them?
Yes, Cypress goes with Astrid to her boat, and during the time and long after she talks to her crew, he just kind of stays out on deck and is looking out to sea.
Why you are
And at some point, sorry, he also pulls out a little formerly officially sealed scroll, and he will open it again and look at it for a while before rolling it back up and putting it away.
There in the skies above, Astrid, as you are settling in for the night, you can kind of, we'll say from where you are at on the deck, you're watching Cypress look out across the sea, looking at this scroll in his hands. There is the briefest moment of this pinkish purple hue of light that goes across the sky, kind of like you would see the northern lights. And it almost looks like a ribbon, like a veil that just kind of floats in the wind for just the briefest of moments. As your eyes also go up to the night sky and you see the stars twinkle and shine, and something about them calls to you in a way that had not before. And in a way that maybe one day you will be able to divine. Laertes, once you're in your office and looking about your room at the things up on the wall, the papers, the theories on your desk, the work that needs to be done, and all of the things that you have seen today, and what it could possibly mean, what equations to the truth are out there, what facts are hidden, have been hidden, not just from you, but from the world, as the perception of the divine has taken on a new meaning to you, suddenly and very really. What was that homunculus-like thing? Why had the general changed so much in shape? So alien from everything that you have come to know. Phoebe, as you lay in bed, your thoughts drifting, the clouds roiling in your mind, and a light that grows beneath those or above those clouds. as suddenly you're not really able to tell. Are those clouds above you? Or do they hover below your feet? Themisto. You stare at the blank scrolls before you. The feather or pen in its inkwell. The words roiling in your head. The things that could be said. The things that should be said. And the things that will be said. How will they take it? This news coming from you. Will they accept it? They best learn. Because somewhere inside you, a voice tells you in confirmation, they will learn to accept your word. For you are the voice that brings about the change. And that's where we are going to end for tonight. Doom, doom, doom.
Ooh,
Goodness.
so dramatic.
What? Drama? What? We don't do drama.
Not here.
Not here. No,
I've met 3 gods today, but I don't remember the first.
drama in my D&D campaign?
Oh my gosh, when it finally clicked, oh my gosh, it is. It's freaking Ares. It's right there in his name. It was like,
It's been fun going and seeing like the ancient Greek way of pronouncing it, and then like just switching
Writing it
the
out
letter,
phonetically.
writing it out differently, and I was like, oh, cool.
Any of you know American Gods? Any of you read the
Mhm.
book or see the show?
yeah.
One of my biggest facepalm moments is there's a character introduced in a jail cell whose name is Low-Key, Lowkey, and I didn't realize who it was till the book was nearly over, and I was just,
Yeah.
how did I miss it? It was an audiobook, so it was also being told to me.
Low
Oh
key
boy.
walks.
That's amazing.
I was like, I'm an idiot.
He's a
No.
low-key god.
It's a low key god.
Nah, you got this. You got
Good
this.
Oh my
Recap,
God.
Trevor,
Low
please.
place keys.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you are buckling up and ready for whatever is coming this way. Do you guys
Something
have
wicked this way comes.
yeah, you guys have things this week for Clickety Clackety, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow. I think we only have about 3 episodes of Kindred left in this season, and then we're going to take a big hiatus. So, Trevor's character is currently dead, so come see if we can revivify him.
No.
How many
I'm
times
just,
is
I'm
that
just
now?
dead. It's fine. I'm just dead.
Just mostly dead? Or...
And then on Sunday,
I
we have
did permadie.
our
Um,
penultimate episode of Fading Elegance Season Secrets.
Ah.
And Friday is over Clickety Clackety, more Eberron spies
Right.
shenanigans stuff. There's a lot of zombies for a spy thriller. I'm just very confused by that. Like, Karnath is just the weirdest country in a fantasy world.
That's true. I do remember reading about some of the stuff that goes on in this Eberron setting. Wild.
Yeah. The words bored necromancer was a theme last week.
Bored
Is the
necromancer.
Bored necro is the definition of chaotic neutral. And the only reason why she's working with us is because we did this, or the organization we work for did her a solid. So now she's just sort of beholden to us, not because she's on board, but because it's just quid pro quo.
Board necromancer sounds almost as dangerous as board evocator.
Let's just see what
It's
we
like,
can.
Yeah,
it's just like
it screams criminal. What was the word? Malicious compliance.
literally what everyone like accused Sherlock of in the show. I'm just like eventually he's gonna get bored, and then he'll start doing all the bad stuff.
I gotta go, guys. I don't feel good.
No
Oh, I'm
worries.
sorry.
We will see you next time.
Feel better.
Thanks for hanging out with us. So stay brave, be fey, safe words mango,
Be brave, stay fey.
and
Safe words mango.
I don't know those.
Be
whatever.
brave.
I
Stay wild.
googled the Greek word for
Coyote
good night,
Peterson.
and I don't remember it.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. Good night.
Good night, everybody.